Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Yeah, so I just saw the AllStar project when Kim sent the blog around about that. That's cool. I didn't know you guys were working on that, but I'm excited to see that. I think it can be I know GitHub has been looking at for a while having some sort of policy settings um, and they might, eventually integrate something like that. But in the meantime, I think the add-on works well.
Yeah, actually, Jeff Mendoza, do you know him? He used to be at Microsoft.
Oh, the name sounded familiar. That's why he's been working on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he joined us 3 or 4 months ago now. I can't remember exactly when. Yeah, he's been working on it. We've
Okay.
been turning it on for a bunch of our organizations and stuff.
No, makes sense. That's great. Morning, Crow. Hi, Axe.
Good morning.
You make me happy.
Thanks. It
Yeah.
never hurts to help.
Yeah. Morning, David.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
I saw your image, but I didn't see what it looked like you were connecting to audio and.
Yeah, I had to sort out all the audio piece, but I think we're good.
All right. Hi, Sal. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good. We'll hang out for a few more minutes and let people assemble.
I'm gonna grab a tea in that case.
Yeah. Well, I guess while we have a minute, I'll ask a quick separate question. David Wheeler, is your blog post up? Are you gonna change it to point to the contact email? Maybe he went to get coffee or tea as well.
Oh, thank you for adding my name.
Yeah. I'm just doing it here. We'll get started in just a second, but
I heard.
Thanks, Kay.
might be all of us. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and lead us. Ryan is off on a honeymoon, and I don't think he had arranged for someone else to fill in his absence, so I'm just jumping in. But if someone else was planning to lead White, feel free to take over. It's all good with me. So first, it's some exciting news. We have approved the OpenSSF 2021 budget, and that includes funding for some of our technical projects. The specifically included in the budget is for the identifying security threats working group. I guess that would be WG, not WT. We have allocated $40,000 for development. I think that the Michael's request was for the security metrics project specifically, and then also $1,600 in Azure credits. And for best practices, Crow, we allocated $33,100 for development and $30,000 in Azure credits.
Yay.
Was that?
Yay.
Oh, was that yay?
Yay, Rob, aren't you excited? I think that you get to move off the Raspberry Pi.
That'll make Glenn happy after
Yeah.
all that crap out of his living room.
Okay. All right, that's good. When you said yay, it almost didn't. I wasn't capturing the happy note.
Oh,
in
there
there.
was much rejoicing.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. And then the last piece for the securing critical projects working group, there, ASTA put forward a proposal for work on, I'm forgetting the specific project, but it was one specific project. And so we have funded that. There is still money in the 2021 budget, about 6,500 for available for security projects. So, if groups have, working groups have additional requests, that's something that they could put together a proposal and send it to the budget committee for, we'll send it to the TAC for approval, and then to the budget committee for evaluation. Okay. Any questions on that?
Yeah, quick correction. I think it's 65,000, not 6,500.
Yes, that's what I meant. Thank you.
I'll add that to it.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention, I see that Rao has noted in the attendance that he might be waiting on the bridge, so we should see if we can admit him.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. There are a couple of people waiting. My bad. I am the.
You're busy steering the ship, no problem.
Well, yeah.
Yes, it's hard to do it all
And
at
I'm
once.
not
That's
used
why I
to
thought
being
I'd
the one
mention it.
admitting people, so.
Yeah,
I'll
it
keep
takes
an
a
eye on
couple
that.
of it takes a couple of people to get these things going with all that's going on.
Yeah. Okay, great. Then the other thing I thought I'd mention, so there is a project happening in the Securing Critical Projects Working Group. It's called AllStar, and that is a GitHub app that allows setting policy for GitHub repositories so that they must meet security requirements. And I think it's tied to, I don't know all the details of this project, but I think it's tied specifically to scorecard. Dan, I know this is not your project, but anything you, at a high level, anything else to add here?
Not really, no. It was, I think, demoed and started a few months ago, I think. And now there's a blog post explaining how to use it and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, so that'll come out soon. I don't think the blog post is quite up on the OpenSSF website, but we'll get that posted and let everybody know about it.
Yeah, I just wrote some notes. I think basically it's related to scorecards and enforces some of the same things. Dan, if that's wrong, let me know, but I think that's right.
Yep, that's where the name came from.
Okay, awesome.
Help you improve your score and be an all-star.
Oh, I missed I missed that. Thank you. Sometimes we.
Okay. And then the only other thing that I had is just an update. So 2 weeks ago when we last met, we had a general discussion about how the OpenSSF can respond and help open source projects meet requirements outlined in the US White House Executive Order. And Ryan had done some work to try to schedule a meeting with that, and then I think he must have gotten tied up in getting ready for honeymoon. So I haven't seen, I did see a poll for the meeting. I didn't see an actual meeting request come out. We did have a brief, we had a little more discussion about this in the planning committee meeting yesterday. We did record that meeting and there's a link to it here in the notes. In that meeting, we had there's a group in the Cloud Native Compute Foundation, CNCF, that is working on it's an implementation of some security. I'm not using all the right words here. So they came up with a supply chain security framework, and then they're working on a reference implementation of that framework. And so some of the folks from that group, these are a bunch of folks from Citibank actually, Jonathan Meadows and Vinod and Michael, I'm forgetting his last name. Anyway, so they came and shared with us some of the parameters that they're working under for that reference implementation. So if you're interested in that, have a look at the video. And there's also it's the tag, CNCF security tag, I think, that's where that work is being done. So you can also check out that website. And then, we talked some more about how we wanted to try to bring open source projects up to conformance with EO requirements. And, what we said is we want that to be driven through the TAC. And so I think our next steps are, once we get Ryan back, or if there are others who are interested, we can go forward, setting up a working group. What we thought is that there are, not setting up a working group, but having some deeper discussions in the TAC, but maybe some side meetings to try to keep it moving more quickly than just the every other week cadence. What was discussed in the last TAC meeting and then in the planning meeting again yesterday is that the work needed to meet EO requirements falls logically across several of the existing working groups, the Securing Critical Projects working group, and maybe also the Identifying Security Threats. But the feeling was that since it impacts a lot of projects overall for openness, working groups and projects overall, best to be driven at the TAC level. So just sharing with you some of the conversations that have gone on. So those are the only things that I had on the agenda. Any questions, comments on any of those? Any other topics? It could be a short meeting.
I had two hopefully quick questions for the TAC.
Sure.
The Developer Best Practices Working Group is assembling part of a white paper around known good practices we want to endorse and kind of be more prescriptive with teams. And we've identified there's going to be a lot of synergy with the tooling working group. So I'm reaching out to talk to Ryan and try to get a joint call between the two groups. But I'm wondering if this potentially if it would be better served to have like one paper coming from the foundation as opposed to kind of 4 or 5 little blogs or papers. I'm wondering if there's any appetite for us to kind of approach that as a collective project at all.
That makes a ton of sense to me. I'm not a TAC representative though, so I'm just one person weighing in. It'd be good to get thoughts from others on the TAC. To Rao or Jennifer, or Dan.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea, Rob. I'm in support. So you're proposing more like collecting these guidance from all the working groups relevant, and then kind of make a one-stop shop or a white paper.
Yeah, something like that. Again, we have a lot of really good, we've identified a lot of really great development practices. And I know the tooling folks have done a lot of review, and I'm really interested to talk to the securing critical projects. So I think there's an opportunity to have kind of one useful artifact instead of a dozen little paper cut things.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
So are you thinking that you're going to like lay out sections of a white paper and give them each an opportunity to contribute? Or I'm just wondering, I think the hardest part of doing any of this will just be coordinating what the inputs and outputs are for everyone.
I hadn't thought that far ahead, Jennifer. We just were kind of floating the idea up there, but I think that's probably the model we would use, is we would stub out sections we think would be relevant, and then I would solicit the other working groups for their input. And hopefully, I don't expect this is going to be hundreds of hours of a project. So hopefully it's something we could get done before the end of the year and have, you know, a really useful deliverable for our constituents.
That
I
would
think
be
it also makes, I think it makes a lot of sense if you do put out a central document that's going to get the most eyes on it. But I would also put that out with the ability to give immediate feedback, right? So by delineating it, immediately ask with a poll, for example, what would you like more information on? And I think that would be a really efficient use of time. And I'm looking forward to reading that.
Cool.
I really like that feedback option. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think make that a living document, Rob. I think is a better option, right? We could publish
Exactly.
the versions, but make that a living doc.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, Rao. Because the state of the art is going to change. There's going to be new tools, new techniques, new languages we need to update for. So I agree. Awesome. So I will send a note out to the working group leads and the TAC mailing list, kind of proposing this and trying to find a time maybe we can all sit down and just kind of brainstorm really quickly. My other item is semi-related. Jennifer and I talked at Black Hat last week, kind of on behalf of the foundation, talking about securing open source, blah, blah, nonsense. And for that presentation, I developed a very rough reference architecture for the foundation. So I'm wondering, I found this very useful in articulating kind of what the development best practices working group does, kind of as an explainer for beginners. And I noticed we don't really have a lot of literature tying all the groups together. So is there interest in kind of more formally crafting this? Right now it's just a diagram, but actually start to show some of the connections and interactions between the group to try to like better state our why and try to attract new folks coming in and participating.
So are you thinking that you just want to be able to like socialize the reference architecture?
Yeah, it's kind of, is this something we're interested in? Kind of articulating all of our groups and kind of how they connect and interact. And then it could turn into a more formal reference architecture. Right now, it's just a diagram, just kind of showing some rough off the cuff connections that I was aware of. It's not comprehensive.
Maybe we should show it just so people have an idea of what we mean.
Sure, if I can find it. Give me a minute. One moment, please.
So the voiceover while Crow looks for his document is essentially, it's like a big Venn diagram. It's showing where different working groups overlap, and then it demonstrates the different types of outputs that either already exist or are well underway, to help people kind of understand where different things lie within the organization. And I think that's helpful as well in figuring out how to get involved in some of these things.
Oh, there it is. It's a big green button. Duh. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
So something along these lines, just to kind of show the interactions between the groups, show the relevant deliverables or artifacts that we're working on, just to try to give a newbie a sense of what we're doing, and maybe they're interested to collaborate on some of these things.
I am so happy for this. When before I stepped off this call, I was going to say I've started talking to like Clyde and Tim from your sort of education and training, and I was like, how they have to overlap, right? And it's in here. Would it be possible to add to this, if not in the diagram, clear points of contacts if we want to sort of engage across streams?
We're open source. Anything's possible.
So-
You dream
so
it, we can make it.
Yeah, so I first of all, I'm not a voting member, just to be clear. I had sent some some earlier comments. I love the diagram idea. I have a couple nits I've already sent to him about making the overlaps bigger so the boxes fit, and chaos shouldn't be just within, because that's actually a different group, some sort of overlap. But I think the idea is good. To your point, Sal, please tell me if I'm mispronouncing. My apologies if I am.
Yeah, available.
Okay, so so I like the contact idea. I think probably what that suggests is what was needed is a short paper, and the diagram's part of it. And I don't even have paper, just a little markdown file if you like, but just something that explains the diagram and includes some important information like points of contact.
Yeah.
And bonus points if we can get people, make it so people can click on parts of the diagram and get somewhere. Grob?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I like the idea of kind of a dynamic graphic that people could click around, and you can actually go to the repositories or to the individual little projects on there. And again, this isn't an exhaustive representation of everything. This was Jennifer and I had a oh crap moment. We need something to fill out a slide. So this is 10 minutes of work.
You know what? Actually, if we just made it easy to click on any of those things, then that might completely solve Sal's concern, which is totally, how do I contact? Well, if you click on a working group name and it gets you to the page that tells you how to contact them and tells you about the group, her concern is completely legitimate, and that might make it really easy for people to immediately get involved, which is in many ways, we want people to understand, but we also want them to get involved. So,
I want to also mark where these are collaborations with outside parties, so it doesn't look like trying to take credit for things that are partnerships.
Agreed. We could color code that if thinking about the final graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking about like chaos, it would be an overlap part in and part out of that circle because of that. But yeah, maybe color coding would make it clear that this is some sort of, oh, look at that.
Done.
But yeah, I think there's some refinements, but I love this. So
So
hopefully
I
others
will,
do too.
I'll figure out how to get this into a editable format for other people. And I'll again share with the TAC and the working group leads and kind of roll that meatball around and see if we can get some other folks to help fix my mistakes and add, because I know this is not exhaustive of all of our activities. Thanks all. I
Okay.
appreciate the feedback.
I'm quiet because I'm just typing away to make notes, but this is great. Crow, I really like that direction.
And I could post an example right here into the our little Google document just so we can kind of get a little taste for it in the notes.
Okay. All right. Any other topics? All right. I think we might be done for today. Good discussion. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.